Hey girl, this is Beauty and Brains with Dr. Zuri Dale. This is episode 1 of my new podcast, and I am so excited. Before I tell you about the podcast, I'm going to tell you a little bit about me. There are so many ways that I could describe myself. Like, I'm a sister, I'm a girlfriend, I'm a daughter, I'm a bonus mom, I'm a scientist by training. But one of the best things and the things most particular to me is that I am a person who I feel like is in evolution, which is partly why I wanted to start this podcast. I'm also an entrepreneur, and I started my beauty business about 7 years ago. And so when I started my business, I found myself like at a crossroad of two worlds, right? I kind of started my business at a time that I did not really know exactly who I was and who I wanted to be. I think that up until that point in my life, everything was marked by me doing things that I had been told to do. I had been over-mentored, I had been instructed, I had been advised, and I'm a person who followed all of the rules. I checked all of the boxes, I made all of the grades, I did all of the things that I knew would make my parents proud. But what I did not do is exercise any choice. And so my decision to become an entrepreneur was my way of exercising some choice and some agency over my life. It gave me a creative outlet. It gave me a sanctuary. It gave me a place to be a multi-passioned person. But along that way, in this journey, like, I faced a lot of struggles, probably struggles that other people have experienced, maybe some that are particular to me. And I feel like a lot of those struggles have overshadowed some of my accomplishments and some of my dreams. And in a lot of ways, I've been overwhelmed by wanting to be the best, wanting to look the best, wanting to feel the best. And so through entrepreneurship, I found a way to kind of grow and create at my own pace. And so through a lot of the experiences that I've had with my business, I've learned how to try to embrace vulnerability, to try to find some balance, and to allow myself to shift from, quite honestly, being perfect to just being. I think historically I've been in a position where I've never quite always felt like I was enough. And this podcast is just giving me an opportunity to bridge a lot of the things in life that I love. So this podcast is about me just being more vulnerable and sharing some things about myself and about my life. It's about me shifting from this idea of being perfect to innovation and to evolution. And it's also about me liberating myself in order to find a bit more personal joy. And I'm really, really excited about trying to create a community where people who are interested in beauty, people who are interested in science, people who are interested in wellness can come, and we have conversations that range from skin health and mental health to the conflict that sometimes occurs between Black mothers and their daughters. I think that there's a place for all of that. And so I also hopefully see this as a place where other people who have battled anxiety and depression associated with being perfect like me can feel seen. I hope that this is a place where people can grow, discover, and sometimes even disagree. And I'm really, really excited about what this has to hold. One thing that I am really excited about is choice. This podcast is completely new for me. I've done a lot of things. I've done a lot of video. I've done a lot of recording. I've done a lot of public speaking. But one thing that I've struggled with is just being authentically myself in a way that other people are able to see and me not feel judged. And so I can tell that I'm in a state of evolution because that's actually something that I'm choosing to do. I was like thinking about this morning, what are the reasons that I really want to do this? Like, why would I decide to do a podcast? Why would I decide to be so vulnerable in this space? And I think that it just kind of highlights where I am in my life. In the world of social media where everything is such a perfectly curated Instagram feed, I think that in some ways I'm ready for the mess of it all, the imperfection of it all. I'm ready to have some conversations that I probably would not have had through my platform, Artistry by Zuri. So I'm really, really excited about that. I'm also excited about changing the face of what science looks like. I have so many people who contact me and say that if they had gotten a chance, they would have done other things, or they have daughters or nieces, or little sisters who want to pursue careers in the sciences and they just don't know how. And I know that science has historically looked a certain way, and I want to change the face of what that looks like. Through Artistry by Zuri and through Beauty and Brains, what I want to continue to do is bridge the gap between beauty and science, to show young girls, especially young brown girls, that they don't have to choose. They can do and they can be all of the things that they may want to do and be, even in a world where microaggressions are real. Mental health challenges are real, and in a world where girls are forced to choose between one thing or the other. Okay, so my sister just came in and she kind of interrupted my flow a little bit, but I'm going to start back. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about how I even got started in the sciences. This is the funniest story, and I actually love telling this story to anybody who will listen to this story because it is very, very real. So my career in the sciences started as a 9th grader. And I remember very vividly that I wanted to compete in the science fair. And at this time, in order to compete in the science fair, you had to have a qualified scientist. That's what it was called at the time. You had to have a person who was willing to sign off on your science fair document saying that this was sound science and this is worthy of competition. So I remember at the time, 9th grade, not knowing anything about a scientist and where would I get somebody to sign this form. So I remember Googling scientists in Houston. I remember, this is so vivid. And the very first thing that popped up was Texas Southern University. I clicked the first link and I was like, I'm going to call whoever I can find on this page. So I called, a faculty member answered, and I was like, hey, I need a qualified scientist for my science fair project. Can you sign this paper for me? I need somebody who is willing to agree that they would be my qualified scientist. And so the gentleman said, okay, well, I'll do that, but you're going to have to come and let me see the project. And I'm like, what? Why do you even need to see the project? I'm just trying to get somebody to sign. And so I went, he saw the project, and he says, you know what? I will sign this, but you're going to have to scrap this project. Like, this is not good. So I'm like, I know it's not good because I'm only in high school. And so he was like, but no, in order for me to sign this, you are going to have a college level project. And that was something that I was not at all prepared for. So my biology teacher took me to TSU to meet with this particular faculty member. And I remember that evening he said, nope, we scrapping it. You're going to have to do something else. And from that day forward, he had me come to TSU to work on this project. Now, the positive about this situation, and this is the part of the story that I always tell, the positive part of this story, and this is the part of the story that makes it sound very glorious. This is the part of the story that gives the, we took a young girl, we engrossed her in the sciences, and she got on this path to wanting to do all these things. And all of that is true. I took those projects and legit, I would go on and win awards all over the country. I would compete locally, regionally, nationally. I got so many internships. I got multiple full ride scholarships to college. I mean, I did all of the things. I think the part that is less glorified about the story, and that I don't tell as often, if at all, about the story, is that it's also around the time where my life began to be like designed for me. And like, I'm getting so emotional even thinking about it. But I'm really okay. But those are the times when like I learned, or I was taught very quickly, you just need to do what other people tell you to do. And then, life will be great. And so I did that. Like, I did all of the things, I did all of the things right. I checked like all of the boxes that everybody told me to check. And so I went on to accomplish all of these things. Like, I knew that I would go to college. I knew that I would be multi-degreed. I knew that I would get a doctorate. But I never knew that I would leave feeling so unfulfilled in a lot of ways. It's like, I feel like people kind of look at my life and they say, oh, well, you did all of the things. Like, you got the job, you got, you have a nice car, you have a nice house. But I think the parts of the story that don't get told as often is the feelings of inadequacy that come with always trying to top yourself and always trying to please other people and always trying to do what somebody else would say is the right thing to do. And like, I'm much older now, so I don't really expect, or I didn't really expect it to kind of impact me just talking about it like as much as it did, but it's real. And I feel like in a lot of ways, I'm still like the same little girl who's just looking for, I'm fine, approval in some ways. But I feel like through Artistry by Zuri, I've been able to like have some agency. What's great about Artistry by Zuri is that it has allowed me to do a lot of the things that I like to do. Like, I feel like if I ever would have gone to my parents and said, oh, I want to be like a makeup artist or a permanent makeup artist, they would have been like, girl, bye. Like, you are not doing that. But the fact that I've been able to like do all of the things and even like merge the two has like been a dream come true. So I've done a lot of things, with the business. And what the business has afforded me is some optionality. And that, I can be like a business owner, I could be a service provider, but I can also work during the day as a scientist. And then the business has allowed me to kind of merge the two things. And so Beauty and Brains is like the perfect intertwining of the two, because it finally gives me a space and an avenue to kind of talk about all of the things just in one space. So